The subject of this video is the signal given about the future of the federal funds range by the 3 and 6 month Treasury bill auctions earlier today, November 25th, 2024. Remembering that the current FF range is 4.5% to 4.75% with a midpoint at 4.625%. The investment rate of the 6-month Treasury bill auctioned earlier today came in at 4.498%, and that is pricing no more than a 25 basis point cut in the federal funds rate through May of 2025, when the 6-month bill matures. And even that forecast, which is embedded in the investment rate yield of the 6-month T-bill, is not close to being a done deal, since the investment rate is close to the low point of the current federal funds range of 4.5%. If the Fed cuts the range by 25 basis points at its December meeting, the new range will be 4.25 to 5.5% just within 1 month after this T-bill was auctioned. The 3-month Treasury bill was auctioned earlier today at 4.526%, which is slightly above the low end of the current FF range and would be significantly on a percentage basis above the midpoint of the federal funds range if the Fed cut by 25 basis points in December. The signal given in both of these bill yields is that the more probable than not forecast is no cut within the next 6 months. If the Fed does cut at the December meeting, the 3-month bill investment rate yield will be above the adjusted federal funds range, and the 6-month would be slightly below the top end of the adjusted range, with 5 months left to go before it matures. The signal being sent by the T-bill yields regarding future federal fund ranges has the probability of a rate cut somewhat lower than the federal funds futures contracts as reflected in the CME FedWatch tool, which currently has the probability of a 25 basis point cut at the Fed's December meeting at 56%, which would take the federal funds range, as I said earlier, down to 5.25 to 4.5%, putting the 6-month T-bill yield at about 1 basis point below the top end of that adjusted range a few days after it was auctioned, about a little more, almost 3 weeks after its auction. In my opinion, the signal being sent by the 6-month Treasury bill yield today is for a rate cut to be postponed until the March meeting in 2025, when the CME FedWatch tool currently has the probability of at least a 25 basis point cut at that meeting at 84.8% currently, and the 6-month bill would only have 2 months left before maturing. If there is a strong jobs report for November, the odds will likely go down for a rate cut in December, whereas a weak jobs report would increase the odds, in my opinion. There will be a CPI and PCE inflation reports prior to the next Fed meeting. And they could have some impact as well on the probabilities of a Fed rate cut at that meeting. And my next post, which will be published either on Wednesday or Friday, I will be discussing $22,000 in principal amount of Treasury bill purchases since my last post. The largest purchase was $10,000 in principal amount of the 2-month Treasury bill that was auctioned last Thursday. When referring to current pricing in this video, I'm using the CME FedWatch tool and other price data as of 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time on November 25th. The 1-year T-bill has fallen slightly since I published my last video. The current yield is about 2 basis points lower in yield than at last Friday's close, which has taken the yield down to 4.39%. And that is also pricing no more than a 25 basis point cut in the federal funds range within the next year.